Please give a warm Georgia Tech welcome to our guest, Veronica Biggins.
So first of all, Don Chapman, thank you very much for the invite. Don and I served on the AirTran board together prior to being acquired by Southwest Airlines, so that makes it special for me to be here today. I'm really glad to see all of you students here, especially in the rain, so thank you very much for taking that time to come here and be with me. Dean Bloom, thank you very much. I appreciate the invite. Impact Series, I've gone back to look at some of the former ones that you've had. Real impressive. I thoroughly enjoyed it and knew so many of the people, which was great. I really enjoyed seeing them. You know, I knew that tech was cool. I just didn't know how cool until last night I had dinner with Raymond Usher, the singer, and your president was there. Bud Peterson. How cool is that, right? And one of your major funders, John Brock, from the Coca-Cola Enterprise Company. So we really had a great time. It was at John's condo, and we had a good time. So it was really good to see Val and Bud there, without a doubt, and just to know all. You know, it's interesting. I'm not sure you students know what an economic impact Georgia Tech makes on the city of Atlanta. And you see where you sit, all the buildings, all the people that are employed, all of you students, the fact that you can get, I love it, a Waffle House right here. Yes, and nothing, you know, it's always good to know these things. So you should be glad, because the money that you're spending is actually helping the economy here in this state. So thank each and every one of you. So I gave a lot of thought to what to come in and talk about. And I tried to think of, you know, given my background, given the kinds of things that you may be interested in, what would be a good topic? And having just completed a fellowship, I just completed a 2-year stint at Harvard in a fellowship program there, and I learned that the most important thing you can have actually is a backpack, a good pair of jeans, one good pair of jeans. You don't need more than that. Let me think, what else did I have to have? Oh, see, the difference between Cambridge and here is that it is cold as everything there. So, you know, thank God for Atlanta. Thank goodness you don't have to zip up and wear long johns and all those other kinds of things. But in thinking about it, I thought to myself, and because it's what I do every day, I listen to people's life stories. Diversified Search, what do? We're helping corporations identify great people every day. And in that process, we get to hear their life stories. So I'm always interested in how people tell their life story. It is interesting, and I want you, because in the end, we're going to come back to this. One of the things I learned there was cold call, where you study the case and the professor walks in and says, so Bill, what did you think about? And you're sitting there going, God, don't call on me, you know, but you know what to say and you've got it covered. And you start off by asking the professor a question to reflect the fact that you really don't know the case. I learned these things in school. So what I want to do is just talk about your life story, your everyday life story, the fact that each and every one of you right now, you have history, you have a life story, and how do you tell that story? What is it that you say about yourself? Because it really is important to know this. And I want to ponder this a little bit, because I spend a great deal of time kind of thinking, you know, what would I say if somebody asked me about my life story? And, you know, I thought, would I say that I'm a daughter? Would I say that I'm a sister? Would I say that I'm my dog's mother? You know, when I'm walking that dog every morning, somebody's going, oh, that's Blue's mother. You know, and you think to yourself, is this how you are defined in your life? So as you think about how things define your life, what in fact would you say about your life? Because you are writing your life story, and you have to think about what it would be. Would you say that you're a Georgia Tech student? I didn't realize until I was headed this way and I had put this note in there, would you say you're a yellow jacket? That's why I wore the yellow jacket. But in fact, you're all that and you're a lot more. And you need to start thinking, what is that a lot more that I am? In writing your life story, where would you start? What would you say is really important to you? how would you define what or who and where you want to be as you think about your future life? I think so often at this stage, I try to, for me it's a long time to think about my days at Spelman College. What was I thinking about when I thought about what I would major in, when I thought about where I was going? And today, I'm sure if I went around this room, a lot of you have a clear definition about where you want to be and how it defines you. But then you have to ask yourself, if I were to boil this down and really capture what I'm about, could you do it in 6 words? There's a really interesting project. I read about it in the Bible, the source of all, Oprah magazine, not the Wall Street Journal, Oprah magazine. There was this whole thing in there about how do you capture your life in 6 words? Not 5, not 7, but 6 words. So I thought, let me go back and look, where did this come from? There is a company called Smith Magazine, and they've captured this whole process in a book format. And I want to just read a couple of what people had samples about what they would say. Is anybody familiar with the project? The dean is. Anyone else? Okay, well, let me read a couple of them to you because I thought they were really interesting. Only I can define who I am. Only I can define who I am. Only I. I was young, needed the money. Think about what that says. Think about that. That's pretty powerful, isn't it? Straight A student, now flunking judgment. Think about it. Stricter parents could have saved me. Stricter parents could have saved me. Learn more from poverty than wealth. If you think about all the story that's in between all those words. I rained on my own parade. Think about it. So as you think about your life, what would be your 6 words? I gave this some thought before coming in here, and I thought, gee whiz, what would I say? So I thought about it. What would my 6 words be that would describe my life? And I actually came up with 6 cities. Greensboro, Jakarta, Washington, Atlanta, Cambridge, and Atlanta. Is that 6 words? Did I get 6? I think I did. And I want to explain this because I think it's, why do these 6 words describe my life? I grew up in Greensboro, North Carolina. I grew up in Greensboro during the Civil Rights era, when in Greensboro, in fact, it is the seat of the Civil Rights. That's where the first sit-ins occurred. I went to school there. I went to the library there. And notice I said library as in one, because there was only one library that the African American citizens could go to. So one library. I went to, and I guess I have to think about this, the middle child syndrome. I have bookends. I have brothers on both ends. And for anyone in here who's a middle child, you understand there's a life story all in between those bookends of being the middle child. You also have to think about growing up in a community where civil rights and the whole definition of civil rights and the impact that has, that all of you in here benefit from, each and every one of you benefit from. I think that my parents taught me confidence. I think they taught me to see beyond my borders. And that's important as I think about Greensboro. So that's my first word. My second word, Jakarta. Jakarta, Indonesia, where my father, an engineer at North Carolina A&T, decided to uproot the family. He took a major risk by accepting a professorship in the School of Mechanical Engineering there at the university. But what did it do for us? It taught us to take off the blinders and see that there is a bigger world than what we had known in that wonderful small city of Greensboro, North Carolina. It really taught us to view the world in a different way. So as you think about your life, as you think about the blinders that sometimes we have, how do you take those off and become more analytical in your life and what you do? It's, when you live when you go from a southern town that is strictly segregated to a country that is run by all brown people, it gives you a very different focus in your life and a very different way of thinking about things. My third word was Atlanta. I came here to attend Spelman College, all women. Of course, we had Morehouse College, all men. There was some definite benefits in there. I don't think my father had quite focused on that. But if you think about it, and that in fact was truly, things had really changed then. Think about the people you meet. Think about the people that you're meeting here and how they're affecting your life every day, how they affect decisions you make or don't make, how they challenge your life. The professors, the people that you meet that are cleaning the dorms. Think about all the people you meet and how they affect your life. They are, in fact, helping you write your life story. So you have to think about, are you hearing what they're seeing and how they're seeing it to you? If you think about, somebody told me a story once, and I want to just digress for a moment. And the fact that coffee, how many of you have heard the coffee bean story? If you put carrots in water, they become mushy. If you put eggs in water, they become hard. When you put coffee beans in water, they change the water. So it's that whole concept of changing the water. And in fact, you have that opportunity to change the water of where you are at this point in time. So if you think about that and how you change the water, at Spelman, we changed the water because we had an opportunity to hear. So I am so truly aging myself. But we heard Martin Luther King speak, but we also attended his funeral. I mean, powerful bookends that helped write my life story. As if you think about it in ways that each and every one of us see ourselves. The fourth word I used was Washington. Did I say, maybe I didn't say Washington, I should have said that. Maybe I didn't. But anyway, Washington. My husband went to law school in Washington, so all of us moved to Washington. We had a great time there. I'm telling you, Wayne Clough is in a great place there at the Smithsonian because I learned that on Saturdays, and matter of fact, at any point in time, all of our tax dollars pay for the Smithsonian. And there's no better learning experience in life than spending it plowing through the Smithsonian Institute. It helped me think about my life because it also helped, what is that broader thing of art and appreciation of art and really developing a love for art while being there. So I think, as I look at Washington, I also have to say I went back a second time. And that's when I worked for the Clinton administration. And what was more interesting than that? Now let's talk about life stories. I heard some great life stories, some of them true, some of them pretty suspect. So you had to try to figure out what was real and what was not real as people are trying to move into political jobs. My role was, in fact, helping him fill all the political appointments. So we did ambassadors, we did secretaries of various positions, and helping them think through all of that in the process of who went into those jobs. Each one of those people had a life story. About 50 of them had a life story that they were, in fact, Clinton's roommate. So I really got a little concerned about how many roommates can you actually have while you're in college. I'm not quite sure. But when you think about how many different schools he went to, I think that probably had a lot to do with it, in fact. So, it's Washington is a place that you love being there and you enjoy being there, but the day my husband finished law school, when I go back to the beginning, we packed up and left that day. In Washington, the day we put the last person, sent them to Congress for confirmation, I said, it is time for me to go home now because you have gone through so much in that process if you think about the life learnings that you have in working in Washington, D.C. So I moved back to Atlanta. Love Atlanta. I guess I've come and gone in Atlanta. So what was my first career? It was a banker. CNS Bank. You learn more about life as a banker than I think almost anything else you will ever do in your life. And why? Because a bank, a really good bank and a really good community walk hand in hand. You're not going to have one without the other. So you learn a lot about giving back to the community, about being a part of the community, which becomes what we should do every day and what you should be doing. And I'd lay odds a lot of you are deeply involved in the community and what goes on around this campus, because it is a complex, different area. As I think about hearing life stories and finding what I do now and helping people find people for the boards, people for jobs, you not only have to listen to their life story, you have to then put a lens of assessment on that. What, in fact, is this person telling me? And then you discover that if you really want to know what they're telling you, if you sit and listen, I'm always surprised at how many people, their entire conversation is around their job, when in fact I've asked them to tell me about their life. So what I would say to you, and I think it's really important for you students to think about this, your life is going to be, it has to be a bigger picture, a more complex picture than just the job. Because most corporations today are looking for people that have a nuance, that have a broader vision, that understand what's going on in the news, that understands that there are complicated layers to what goes on within a corporation. Therefore, when you come in there, if you bring that nuance and the ability to look at those complicated layers, that you're strategic, that you're analytical, that in fact positions you to be better in your way, and that they're going to consider you more in a position within the company if in fact you have that. So in hearing those life stories, I want to talk a little bit more about this. It is, when I left, I mentioned right as I started being in Cambridge for a period of time, and then it was called Advanced Leadership Initiative, where they took people that were interested in, there were 22 of us exactly from around the world, from different countries. We had the chairman of IBM China. We had the person who was Secretary of Health for Switzerland, a Japanese woman that headed Deutsche Bank, a Japanese bank for the Asian region. So if you think about it, each one had a great life story. And their stories were very complex and very nuanced. And their ability to tell their stories was certainly broader than most of us, I think, as Americans tell our stories. We become so wrapped up in it's all about the job versus it is a life. And that's what I think all of us need to think more carefully about. There were, we were challenged to think about, as you think about all you've learned in your career and you want to think about retiring, what is it that you intend to do with this wealth of information that you acquired? And that's exactly what we're doing now. We've started a great project in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where we're looking at how do we help that community. We started a global project where we're looking at the issues of sex slavery, which is so complex and affects this city, Atlanta, in ways that I'd never imagined until I started, really paying a lot more attention to this. But things that we think about more on a global basis versus just it's right here, it's in our city, it's on our doorsteps. Because in fact, we live in this city and puts it on our doorsteps. Now my specific project, because each person had to have a project, is around literacy and civility. I had, how you know certain things, but you don't know them on top of mind. Everybody in here can read, but do you realize the majority of the world cannot? It's interesting. You wonder why people, like if you're on the MARTA going to the airport and you're sitting there watching this group of kids just acting out, and you're thinking to yourself, why are they acting out like this? What is the problem? I'd lay odds comes down to inability to communicate effectively. Probably don't read well, not doing well in school, and then what's the next? What is their life story? Their life story. Because of that one gap of not being able to read. We had one of our classmates who's doing work in India which is going to be phenomenal around reading and books and things like that. It's going to be quite something to see. I had the opportunity while there to live in the Scholars Apartment on the old Radcliffe campus. So I'll tell y'all the truth. I had no idea what students could do at 4 o'clock in the morning. Goodness gracious. There were lots of things going on, to put it very mildly. But it was also great because we would, my roommate was a Japanese woman from Tokyo, and we would go to the dining hall with the rest of the students. And our table became the popular table in the room. It became popular because all these students were interviewing for jobs. They were, they're in their senior year, they're all interviewing for jobs, and let me tell you my story. And it was amazing to me, the difference between a lot of the international students and their perspective and the US students and their perspective and the stories that were being told. Very interesting. The whole issue of whether or not you, in fact, can see the world. And a lot of us have lived in such a narrow confine of constraint of the shores that we're on that we forget this bigger perspective of how we, in fact, could tell that broader story. So my 6 words, Greensboro, Jakarta, Atlanta, Washington, Cambridge, and then back to Atlanta. I love Atlanta. My husband is like, why? I think he would go someplace else and live just as happily as he lives here. But there's something special about this city and the life that, in fact, you can tell that I think we all should value. So in thinking about your life and thinking about your plans and not just your career plans, what would you say? What would you say if somebody said in the midst of this plan, this analytical plan you have for your life, we want you to go in a different direction. We want you to go to Jakarta. We want you to go, you name it, some other place in the world and live. Could you live your life that would lift you up and help you make that transition? What if somebody said, opposed to that technology company that, Zuckerberg, how much is he getting ready to make? $100 billion. Could you say, maybe not. Maybe I want to act, could you do it? Think about it. You should hear the Harvard debate on him. I would say it's split straight down the middle. Those who love him and those who think this is ruining the world. So it's a really interesting discussion to hear. I'm sure if he brings back half of that money to Harvard, they'll have a different perspective. It's amazing what these things can do. So as you're thinking about it, it's interesting. A friend mentioned to me recently, and I didn't know this. Some of you may know it. The word and, A-N-D, is one of the most used words in the English vocabulary. Now I'm thinking to myself, why is this important? And then I realized why it's important. The word and implies that something else is going to happen, that there is a continuation, that, and what do? You wait for, what is it that's going to happen? So I've given this some thought, and I thought, well, did I actually narrow my life by thinking about just these cities that I've lived in? And I decided that my 6 words needed to change. And my 6 words, and I'll tell you what I'm moving toward now, who knows. Born into a great family, and because that family has defined me. It's given me the opportunity. But the word and implies where else? What else? What else will happen in my life? So as you think about your 6 words, and you think about that word, I think that, when I think about taking risk, the word and opens the door for risk-taking, that you will consider doing other things. So in your life, you must own your life story. Your family can't write, yes, they can help shape, but they can't write that story for you. My mother tried to write that life story for me. I think you should be And she had some definite things. Well, one of the things she thought I should be was married. I'm sure some of the, and men and women in here have heard that. Or, your father, my father was an engineer. He thought, oh, you should be an engineer. I thought, well, if my math skills were that good, certainly. So each of us, your teacher may have something that they would say, go in this direction, or a friend who's going to say, let's go drink all night. But you're thinking, this is my life. I'm controlling this. It's my life story. I will make the decisions about it. It gives you ownership and the authority to make decisions that maybe you would not have made so well unless you stepped back and thought, it's my life story. I'm the one that will tell this story. No one else, just me. No one else. And if you think about it, you're the author. Lots of people. If you think about, I guess as I think about people that I've met and they sit and they say, well, the company wanted me to. But it's not what you wanted to do. Would you have been happier if, in fact, you made a different decision? So I think the word "and," in fact, does give you a different way of just thinking about moving forward and, in fact, writing your life story. I started off by saying, what would be your 6 words? Has anybody given it any thought? I see some heads nodding. Should I take a chance? What would you say?
I've had my 6 words for a few years, and I wasn't part of that experiment, but it's, I am powerful because I learn.
I am powerful because I learn. Yeah. And you can read. Yeah. I don't think people realize just how important. Anyone else? Anyone else? 6 words. Okay.
I am poor because I spit.
That's a good one. I am poor because I spend. How many of you get My Habit that shows up in your email every day? And you sit there going, I really don't need that. And you push the order it button. They know exactly what they're doing. It's a great way. Anyone else? Somebody take a chance. Come on, 6 words. Don Chapman.
I know Veronica and she knew Clinton.
That's your life story? That's my life story. It has to be your life story.
Tell me the rest of the story.
Oh, well, I'm not telling. You were going to say something.
And also, it's one of my students that's in here that I identified. Make a life impact, not money.
Make a life impact, not money. It's funny. In my life, and this is very true, I know a lot of wealthy people, very wealthy people, very unhappy people, very dysfunctional family. Now, I must admit, there are times when I say to myself, I wouldn't mind finding out, if that wealth would do that. I've always said, though, if I won the Georgia lottery, I chaired the Georgia lottery for years. And I always dreamed of what I would do if I won the lottery, besides buying a pink Cadillac and going to Disney World. Then I thought, a NetJet card would be great. But then I thought, what would I really do? And you know what? Don't you think you'd feel better if you actually tried to do something to make a difference in the world? I'd like a little left over, so I could travel the world as I tried to do good in the world. Other people, you look like you were thinking about it. No? You wrote it down? Come on.
Not quite yet.
Not quite yet. All right, it got to be 6 words now. Anyone? Yes.
Say, live with no excuses, no regrets.
Live with no excuses, no regrets, which means you've got to enjoy your life. Very true. But while working hard, because working hard gives you the right to enjoy your life. Anyone else? It's a lot harder than you think, yes.
I think, therefore I can change.
I think, therefore I can change. It's very good. Very good. You should Google or go online and just look at, 6 words, Smith Magazine. Some of the comments are just, they will take your breath away. to see how people have summed up their lives. It will absolutely take your breath away. Others, think about it. Should I give you a few more minutes to think? Let's see something. Did you have your hand up? No? Come on now. Do I need to do the cold call?
Faith, hope, love, and serving.
Faith, hope, love, and serving. That's good. I saw one that I thought was good. Let's see, let me remember. Thin, fat, thin, fat, thin, fat. I thought that was a great one. That was a great one. Yeah. Others. I saw one that said, wait a minute, what did it say? Was a banker, now an artist. I thought, whoa, somebody who just totally changed their lives. Totally changed their lives. Others. Back in the very back.
I did the cities or places. Shaker Heights, Hungary, Atlanta, creativity, community building, and storytelling.
Is that 6 words? Wait a minute, I can't. Say it again. Say it again.
So 6 things. First is the place, Shaker Heights, then Hungary, then Atlanta, then creativity, then community building, but that's one thing, and storytelling.
Okay. 6 words. You know what? Think about it. It's easy to write a 2-hour speech. It's very difficult to write a 1-minute comment. Very difficult. Now, wait, I saw, yes. Searching for peace of mind. So tell me what that means to you. Speak up, speak up.
A senior and being about to graduate from school, try to figure out where you're going, and basically you want to be at peace with the decisions that you make. You don't want to like go somewhere and then say I should have did this or I should have did that. You just want to be satisfied, but then at the same time, where I don't find pieces in my decisions is that I'm never satisfied. So it's like I always want more and more. So it's like, when am I ever gonna just say, not like I made it, but like this is good enough for me.
You should never say this is good enough. I'm always one, and my children think I'm nuts, but I always say when I die, I want to be saying, all right, now I was thinking about, so there's always something. I think that's part of, I think that's a great struggle because it then keeps you on your toes about your life. And you're managing your life story. Great story. Great. Others, I saw, okay, right here.
Friends, family, faith, focus, and finish.
Say it again so I can hear.
Friends, family, faith, focus, and finish.
Friends, family, faith, focus, and finish. Tell me a little. Fill those words out for us.
Well, friends, family, and faith have always been 3 major parts of my life. And then the way I look at it is that, like, just if I'm focusing, I'll be able to finish where I'll be able to come.
That focus. That's very good. Yes.
Always a student and a teacher.
Very good. Always a student and a teacher. Now, see, you two have hit on some things that I firmly believe in. Absolutely. Always a student. And in fact, the day you decided you stopped learning, I can remember the day I finished Spelman College, I thought to myself, thank goodness I'll never pick up a book again. And then you discovered immediately, first job you got to read. You got all this other stuff you have to do. It's an ongoing, forever process. So, I mean, it's part of what we should all be doing. I saw, who had their hand up right here?
Successful with a good life balance.
Successful with a good life balance. So you're going to really,
Sort of what I have now.
Yeah.
Hopefully what I'll have in the future.
and defining what success really means if you get that good life balance. A lot of people are successful but no life balance. All they do is work. And I want to be clear about this. Because the dean, I'm sure, would really shoot me in here. I'm not advocating that you not work hard. I'm advocating that there's a great balance in what you do in working hard in your life. Okay, let's see. I saw some other hands. Yes.
Mistakes shape me, failures propel me.
Say it again.
Mistakes shape me, failures propel me.
That is great. Mistakes shape me. Say the last part again.
Failures propel me.
Failures propel you. Propel me. So talk about that a little bit.
The mistakes I've made through my life shape who I am today.
Mm-hmm.
A mistake's only as good as what you can learn from it. And the failures that have happened through my life have propelled me into the position I am in today.
To do better, to keep moving. It's a learning process. Total growth. Yes.
Young, dumb, and free to change.
Young, dumb, and free to change. All right, all right. Tell us, tell us.
I think a lot of times at Tech we get so caught up in the next step, but we still have a whole life to live, so I'm young. I'm dumb because I know so much about nothing. And, and I'm free to change because, like our last Impact speaker said, like I get to choose what path I want to go on.
Good point, yes.
A firm foundation to dance upon.
A firm foundation to
Dance upon.
dance upon. All right. What do they say? Let me dance when nobody's looking. So what does that mean? Tell us.
I heard it said that you can't get credit for a double when you're born on second base. And I feel like my family has prepared me and given me this firm foundation and faith and to walk my life out upon. And I'm going to do so creatively and just live my life on that foundation.
Very good. I want to go back to the dumb comment. So this is, I mentioned that Cambridge's coal is everything. One morning it was, I go to bed, it's like, 20 below. Got up that next morning, there was snow to my knees, and I'm tall. I'm serious. They don't cancel class for any reason. Any reason. I'm thinking to myself, you're having class today? But not to worry. In fact, the one time you should not miss class is the day that it snows like that. So I get to class, work my way to class, work my way back. So I'm coming back and I notice the students are building an igloo. I thought, no, this is interesting. They worked on that igloo all night because as you know, that the white shine from the snow, it is very bright. They worked on that igloo all night. So the next night, I'm sitting in the dining hall and I said, yes, igloo is quite something. That's quite a work of art. I mean, I could walk into it, standing up. I could walk into this igloo. So this is a real engineering feat. They've done a great job. Next morning at breakfast, I noticed that that igloo had been knocked down. I said, what happened? Evidently, there was a lot going on in that igloo. I was the dumb one. I thought, oh my God, no, in the cold. So you can use your own imagination. I thought, oh, somebody that's too smart, that's just dumb, does not know what they're doing. And then, the Charles River's frozen over, and you see footsteps across that. And the taxi driver said, millionaire babies, dumb as hell. Whoa. All right, others, come on, because I saw some other hands. Yes. I didn't hear you.
Can't score runs sitting in pavilion.
Sitting in pavilion. All right, so tell us, what does that mean?
It's got a couple of layers.
Mm-hmm.
First thing is so it's a sports metaphor. So when playing any sport, you got to balance out taking risks while playing it safe. Otherwise, you'll get out and you're just sitting outside.
Mm-hmm.
But it can be extended to life where, you got to take chances and you can't just sit at home and watch TV all day to succeed in life. And it's also reflected in my life how I've always said yes to different opportunities that showed up without thinking twice about it.
It's like getting out of the bed to go hear that speaker. That you're sitting there going, oh, just another hour of sleep. But in fact, I'm going to hear that speaker. I'm going to engage. I'm going to that study group. I'm going to, engage with this group of individuals. Helps expand you. It's the risk taking that becomes important. Yes.
My education exists outside of school.
My education exists outside of school.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
I'm very grateful to go to such a great institution.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the true things that really make life worthy or are required for you to succeed, you can't learn from a book.
How true. From your friends and from all the things around you. life experiences. You know, as you look at the what we do or don't do to the environment, you know, it's you know, you say to yourself, well, I love this argument, even though, I mean, you know, so people say, is there global warming or is there not? It's January. It's blazing hot. My tulips are blooming. What does this mean? You know, this kind of like the visual of, didn't read it in a book, but there's a problem here. No, yeah, yes.
Always there for those around me.
Very good. Always there for those around me. What does it mean?
I feel like if you want to make a difference in the world, you start with your friends and your colleagues. It's helping them and supporting them, and you're doing something.
Help that, and you know, and one of the things that I think goes right along is being a mentor. All of us should be a mentor to somebody because somebody was a mentor to us. So we should give that back. Always. I always say, I mean, right now I'd lay odds each of you has a mentor. I have a mentor. I have several. But you should also be mentoring others, giving back, because you, in fact, are in the lap of luxury right here. And being able to give it back is really important. I mean, I think about some of the Georgia Tech graduates that are in here today. I mean, what did you learn? You give back to make it better every day. I know you do. Every day. Okay, let me see. I saw, yes, over here.
Making the world better, serving others.
Making the world better, serving others. So that whole servant, the servant, which is that, you know, when you think about reaching back, talk about it, what you have in mind.
Really just trying to, like you said, make a difference, make the world a better place for those around you or even globally. And doing so by maybe empowering other people to do it or by just having a servant's heart and helping those around you.
Yeah. And it's so simple. You know, it's you know, sometimes you see somebody on the street and you think to yourself, boy, that bum needs to get off the street. Well, where is he going? Where is he going? You know, what is a meal ticket to Waffle House or to McDonald's? Of course, now, there are times when I was in college that I guarantee you I didn't have the money to even think about giving somebody else a meal ticket. So, you know, but it does. I mean, you really have to think about, you know, that extra, how can I help lift this person up? You know, servant heart, servant heart. Yes?
I live in light of eternity, and so I guess what I felt is that all of the relationships and the decisions that I make and the jobs that I take throughout my life are grounded upon me with my faith in God, and so when I approach new opportunities, I approach it from that perspective.
Faith is important. Faith is important. And, you know, and faith takes different shapes and different terms, and it's very important because it keeps us all grounded in our lives. Did I see right here? Well, I'm right behind you. Then I'm coming back because I tried to call on you before. Yes, you.
I'm only going to use 4 words. That is.
No, we got 6 words, but go, I want to know your 4 words.
Yeah, it's circle outside, square inside.
Circle,
Outside.
outside, square, inside. What does that mean?
It means that circle has no edge. It's very smooth, and so in our daily life we need to sometimes we need to do things in a very smooth way, in a very flexible way. You know, we need to make some compromises. And square inside means that though we sometimes need to make some compromises, we still need to stick to the principle we got. We still need to believe what we believe, and this is called the square because it has edge. So it's
I like that.
To the principles we believe.
I like that. I thought 6 was tough, but 4, that was powerful. It was really powerful. Now let's see. Oh, hell, tell me your name. Whitney, go right ahead.
Be courageous, change wisely, and love fiercely.
Talk about it.
I just want to make sure that I'm courageous. I feel like I've been courageous thus far, but I want to continue to be. I want that to be a part of my life. Change wisely has kind of a double meaning. I want to change others wisely. I want to change in my environment with wisdom, but I also want to change with wisdom. I don't want to just grow old and not be wise.
Yeah, that would be a mistake.
And
There's several of us who can attest to don't grow old and not be wise.
I wanted to make sure that I approach my life with lots of love and that I'm bold enough to do that.
It's interesting. I hear some real common threads running through the room, which are quite interesting to me. Others? Yes.
I'm going somewhere, never getting there.
I'm going somewhere, never getting there. So it's the journey.
Right.
Yeah.
I hope that, like, I know what goals I have currently, I know how I want to achieve them, but I hope that throughout my life I will always have some dream that I want to achieve.
I think your point about goals, it is important because, it's sometimes we can get so set on I'm trying to get over there that we don't realize that a little detour and maybe a curve over here, then you may end up even a better there.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Leave a legacy by your actions.
Leave a legacy by your actions. Talk to me about it. Tell me your name.
My name's Justin. Basically, I just feel like in my life, the things that I do, I want them to have a purpose. And like one of the main things for me is like I have a passion in sports and a passion with little kids. I like to teach little kids. And to be able to make an impact on anybody younger than me, to create purpose in their life so when they grow up, they can follow their dreams and do what they want to do.
Yeah.
And if they have the same, leave a legacy in their life, then they may make an impact on somebody else. And it's an ongoing.
So
thing.
it's, what did they, pay it forward. Would that be a good pay it forward? Where each one is lifting someone else in because that's very good. Excellent. Anyone else? Yes.
I'm not done figuring it out.
I'm not done figuring it out. All right. Well, tell us.
I guess every day you try to figure things out, whether it's trying to figure out what the right thing to do in a situation or how something works or how you have a homework problem. And I think just every day you're trying to figure something else out. You should not stop trying to figure out how things work or how to do things.
Every day.
Chase.
Tell me your name. Tell me your name.
I'm Prahlad.
Prahlad.
Yeah, chase excellence and success will follow you.
Chase excellence and success will follow. Talk about that.
I mean, people get all caught up about the destination. It's kind of similar to what like there's that. People get caught up about the destination and being successful and everything. But if you focus on the journey and chase excellence, you will definitely reach where you want.
Yeah. You raise a really interesting question about defining success. I think sometimes we do define success by material things and only to discover. Of course, you can't take them with you. You can have all those stories, but then what? It really comes down to how you define success. Now, wait, there was a couple of hands, and then I'm coming back this side.
Live and make your own mistakes.
Live and make your own mistakes.
A lot of people always try to give advice, and you appreciate the advice and stuff, but just because something didn't go right or didn't work out for someone else doesn't mean that it can't go right for you.
So tell me there's a cliff, but let me make a decision as to whether or not I want to jump over or not. I mean, which is fine. It's my decision. I own it. It's my life story. Right.
Do not be afraid of failure.
Say the whole thing again.
Do not be afraid of failure.
Do not be afraid of failure.
Because I tend, like, in the past, I've always, like, tended to be afraid of failure and not try something.
That risk, and that's a good common thread. Risk, it's okay. It's okay to take the risk. I know, this is interesting. I actually thought that I had put my career in the dumps when I resigned from a great job at a bank and great salary to take nothing and move to Washington and pay for the opportunity almost. But it paid me back in great ways, without a doubt. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Right now, wait. Well, you, and then I'm coming back over there.
Mine's actually very similar, but it's a different wording. Escape the comfort zone and thrive.
Escape the comfort zone and thrive.
Yeah. I feel like I often limit myself by challenging myself to do more or ask more questions. So it's kind of a personal goal for myself.
So should I ask the dean if she's thought of 6 words? Because you said you were familiar with the project. No? I'll come back. I'm going over here.
My first thought is glad I'm no longer dean.
Glad I'm no longer dean. Okay.
But I do have one. Carpe diem, creating value is glorious.
Wow, okay, tell us.
And, we tend to plan so much, but there's so much we can do while we're planning and learning. And so the more we engage in co-creating the world we want to live in, and doing it now, not putting it off, the sooner it will happen.
Very good. Because we can plan forever. The question is making it happen. Making it happen. It's very execution. That's very good. Okay, let's see. Yes.
Plan for tomorrow, adjust for intrigue.
Wow. Tell me your name.
I'm Lauren.
Lauren. So what does this mean? Adjust for intrigue. I like that.
I plan everything. My family, I plan their lives. Love and hate them for it. But as much as I plan, I always know that I can't actually plan everything because I don't know if I'm actually going to be interested, in 5 years in the same thing. So I'm always open to learning about new ideas, especially from people and their experiences. And that really lets me.
So living your life for the surprise. I'm coming back. There was someone back last, yes.
Ever a fool growing in Christ?
Say it again.
Ever a fool growing through Christ?
Ever a fool growing through Christ.
Yes.
Tell me what that means.
Throughout my life, I've been reminded by everything I do and all of my failures that it's not about me. I'm flawed, I'm sinful, and through Christ I find redemption and I find purpose. And everything in my life is filtered through that lens.
Very good. And it's okay to be flawed. I mean, gosh, if we were all perfect, whoa, wouldn't that be something? We'd have a whole room of perfect people and nobody would be perfect then. Okay, let's see. Yes, right here.
Living the dream I never had.
Living the dream I never had. Talk about that. Tell me your name.
John.
John.
I guess I go along the line. I never thought I would be here at Tech. I've always liked Tech, but I never imagined I'd be here. And I never imagined I'd want to go to Los Angeles and work at a production company out there. But I'm kind of on that path. Just like I said, it feels where that's where I'm supposed to be. I never knew.
So surprises in your life. That is great. Let me think, how's my time?
Maybe if you could wrap up a little bit and then give time for people to ask questions.
Okay.
Because I know that.
Well, you know what? I'm going to leave you and I'm going to find, I had written some words down. I tried to get this down to 6 words and I didn't, but I need to find out exactly where I put them because I thought about this a lot and I thought, how do I get this down? But somebody had said to me, and let me find it, that in life, and I got it down to 8 words, but I mean, it was a lot longer, but I want to leave this with you, which is be happy, be reasonable, be reverent, be hopeful. Because I think it does, a lot of what you've said in here, I think those words kind of capture all that you've said in here. And I'm going to leave it with that. Thank you very much.
We have time for 2 or 3 questions if there are any. And while you guys are thinking about questions, can you tell us at least one Clinton story?
Well, let me think.
It's to stay in
But
Washington.
I can't tell you how many people said, write a book, write a book. I'm probably the only person who didn't write a book. Because I do believe, leave it there. Leave it there. I'll tell you how I met Clinton. Anybody in here have children? By children, some folks, yeah, see a couple of folks with hands up. Some of the best people you know in your life are the people you met through your children. So I mean, children are really important, and that's how I got to know the Clintons, was through my child who became good friends with Chelsea Clinton. So you never know, you know, and I'll tell you a little bit more to that since you asked the question. So my daughter comes running up to me. She's like 5 years old, and she has Chelsea in tow, who's 6, I guess. And Mommy, Chelsea wants me to spend the night. Excuse me? You do not spend the night with anybody I don't know their parents. And I meant it too. So then here comes Hillary. Key. And my answer was the same. I'm sorry. My child does not spend the night with anybody I don't personally know. So from that, we got to know each other. My husband and the president got to know each other, played golf, they had a good time, and the kids spent the night later on. So it went well. Questions?
I have a question. Thanks for being here, and we've learned from these 6-word memoir, 6-word stories about a lot of commonalities among people. But despite those commonalities, I'm interested in your perspective of the marriage of AirTran and Southwest. And, you know, we know about the statement that culture eats strategy. So are these cultures going to work, and what are y'all doing to make sure it happens?
You know what, this is my perspective, and Don may have a different perspective here, but I do think it's going to work and work well, and I'll tell you why. Southwest has a tremendous respect for AirTran, the employees of AirTran. They offered every employee, now some of the executives, because you know the duplications of jobs did not work, but the pilots, the flight attendants, all the people that work in the back office, everybody was offered a job, and most of them are joining, and they're moving different places, and you know it's really quite interesting. 9/11, if you'll recall, almost all the airlines had to do a drastic downsizing. Southwest never laid off the first person, not one. And the reason they didn't is that a lot of the executives said, we're taking drastic pay cuts. They took care of their employees. A lot of the employees said, you know, I'm married, my husband, my wife, you know, my partner, you know, we can give something up so other people can maintain their job. That speaks to the culture of an organization. I cannot tell you, and Don doesn't, I mean, the respect that they have for AirTran, I have found that to me to be the most confirming. Respect, and they look at systems that we put in place and they go, whew, you know, and they're thinking about those systems because anyway, so it's been extraordinarily interesting. But there even in the boardroom, before you ask a question, you really think about the culture. Is my question, you know, do I need to take in consideration culture? I've been to my 3rd board meeting, so I really have to think about these things carefully. Great group of people. It's, you know, if you want, one of the, I don't know if I consider, I don't know if it's an honor or whatever, but as the newest board member, I was asked to be a judge for the Halloween party. Okay, the Halloween party. So I thought, you know, is this a big deal, you know? Not to worry, you know, I like Halloween. We can get into this too. I had no idea that people spend a year blogging trying to get themselves appointed judges. I mean, just citizens around the world are applying for this. I'm like, I cannot believe, I mean, how did I know that this was indeed a big honor? You know, how did I know? But not to worry, I went as Cruella de Vil. Cruella. I got myself a dipstick dog that was about that big, stuffed, carried him on the plane. I thought he was going to need his own seat before I actually got there. So anyway, Gary Kelly, who's the chairman and CEO, went as, I mean, what was he like one of these monsters. He was painted green from head to toe and had these rubber shoes on there. That he's a big guy anyway. He was a really big guy. And all the employees bought their children, schools came in, they had plays. I was like, I cannot believe this. It was a big deal. So, I mean, we all had a good time. I mean, you never know. I mean, but it really speaks to the culture of the organization. So, They know how to have a lot of fun, but they take just the whole process of flying an airline extraordinarily serious. I mean, safety is the number one. Safety's number one. What, Don, from your perspective, what would you say?
Well, it's, I never figured that good old boys and cowboys couldn't get together in a fairly short period of time, but you have to remember that the culture and the heart of AirTran was born on a sunny Saturday afternoon when we lost the airplane in the
Yeah,
Everglades. And,
that's right.
you don't want to build a company that way, but if you ever build one that way, it's a hell of a company.
Hell of a company. And AirTran, you know, Southwest Airlines would have never been able to come to Atlanta, Georgia, but for AirTran. Would never have happened. When you look at the gates they've gained in New York, Washington, would have never happened. So it's interesting. It's going to be real interesting. The first Southwest airline lands on Sunday, February the 12th. And so, you know, I've noticed the subtle changes. I love Delta Airline. I have millions of miles on Delta Airline. I've noticed the subtle changes that have occurred in their marketing. I mean, you just know this war is getting ready to go full blast, full blast. It's going to be a war.
Veronica, thanks for coming to Georgia Tech today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks. Thank you.